What is up, everyone? This video is going to be the weirdest video I've maybe ever done. I'm wanting to do two things in this video, and they're very different things. So last night I was up, and what I'm going to talk about was so flooding my mind, I had to create like a little note on my iPad and just write notes. So I was going to film something totally different today, but I'm swerving and doing this because it's just on my heart. So we're going to talk about basically the holiday season and what that looks like in the different seasons of life you might be in and how we can make it more meaningful. And I don't know why this has been so on my heart, but it just has been. And it's not even that deep, but we are going to get very specific and down and dirty with this topic. So I'm excited to just chat about this. I feel like it's something we don't talk about, but you'll see what I mean. It'll make more sense in a second. The other thing I needed to do, however, was declutter my little makeup collection here. So we're going to do that. I told you the two things are not related. We're going to try to do both. This may be weird and I'll never do it again, or it may be awesome. We're just going to see. But speaking of meaningful holiday things, today's video is very kindly sponsored by Storyworth, which is what we're going to chat about right here. So I have worked with Storyworth for years, and it's funny, you know, when I work with a company, you're sent talking points, and I barely need these talking points because I know I love what Storyworth does. So if you are in need of a gift for someone that you love, whether it's your parents, grandparents, best friend, this is it. Okay, this is it. My thing is, during the holiday season, we spend a lot of time with our family and friends, our loved ones, and, you know, I'll hear my mom, especially a few years ago before we started using Storyworth, I'd hear my mom or dad tell a story and I'd think like, gosh, I wish we had this written down. You know what I mean? And once I discovered Storyworth, that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Basically, they make it really fun and easy for your loved ones to tell their story, right? About their life, not just their childhood, but like for me, I'm most interested right now in my parents when they were like my age, when they were in their 30s. So basically every week, Storyworth will email your loved one a single question about their life. So things like, you know, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? Or where's the farthest you've traveled? Or what were you like in your 30s? Still my favorite question. And all they have to do is reply with a story. It's as simple as that. So even if you're gifting this to someone that's maybe not as tech savvy, it's very simple. So then at the end of the year, Storyworth will compile all of their stories and responses into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book. There can be pictures in there if they included pictures within it. It's amazing. It really is one of those keepsakes that could not be more meaningful. I feel like a lot of us are getting to that point where we're like, you know, so-and-so doesn't need another sweater. We all have what we need. So what are those gifts that you can give that are clutter-free, that are way more meaningful, and this really fits the ticket. It fits the bill. And my thing is, and I know it's really kind of dark, but I've gotten a lot of comments from you guys when I've talked about Storyworth in the past that you said, you know, I'm so glad I started Storyworth when I did because my, you know, whoever ended up passing away and we wouldn't have had these stories, or the opposite where you're like, I wish I'd known about this before my loved one passed away. So, you know, it's a fact of life. It gives me the goosebumps talking about it because I really think our stories are such a big part of our life. I mean, that is our life, and I want to know all of our loved ones' stories. So not only that, but I like that you can order as many of these as you want at the end of the year. And so if you have a bunch of siblings, you could order a bunch of these at the end of their year and gift those to them as a gift. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving. I absolutely love it. So if you want to help your family share their stories this holiday season, you can do so by going to storyworth.com/JessicaB to get $10 off your first purchase. We absolutely love it. And also I want to say the site is really easy. If you're clicking around on there, it's also a really great last minute gift idea too, because you don't need to be waiting for something to come to you in the mail. You could literally gift this the day of and it'd be ready to go. So thank you again to Storyworth for sponsoring this portion of the video. I will have the link to get $10 off your first purchase right there at the top of the description box. And thanks again to Storyworth for sponsoring. Okay, so let me pull up my list. Think about your life, okay? And think about the holiday you celebrate. Like, obviously, I'm talking about Christmas. That's what we celebrate. Obviously, not everyone watching this celebrates Christmas. So think about your own holiday season, no matter the time of year. And think about what it looked like when you were a kid. What were the traditions? What were the things that you guys did as a family, let's say, that made it feel special? Have you carried those into your adulthood or not? Some things I feel like maybe you don't want to carry into adulthood, and there's nothing wrong with that. One thing I've been struggling with a lot is, I've talked to my sister and brother about this, I feel like it's taken me a while to like embrace adulthood. Not that I haven't been doing all the adulty things, like paying my own bills, blah, blah, blah. But really realizing like, I don't really have to answer to anyone. I don't. And I still feel sometimes like I do, and I really don't. And it's taken me a while to kind of embrace that as like, I am an actual adult, Jessica. You are 33 years old. I know it's taken me forever, but I don't think that's uncommon. And as I talked to my sister about it, she was kind of just saying like, I think that's just a normal part of growing up. Now, for some people that might happen earlier than others, but I feel like for me, I'm 33 years old and I feel like I'm just now realizing like, I need to make these decisions for me and what's best for me, my husband, and my family. And I don't know that that's necessarily just because I had kids. I just think you do just hit a point in life where you realize that, like, I need to take the reins of all of this and stop assuming things are just going to happen. Stop assuming that I have to do things the way I've always done them. And actually really think about your life and your day-to-day and what that looks like. And should you switch things up? Okay. We're getting real deep. All right. I also need to start going through this. So I don't know how I'm going to talk about both makeup and this, but we're going to find a way. I guess I do that with my coffee chat, get ready with me's. I do both. So we're just going to, so I've got my like base stuff. Some of this I think is just like empty. Like my Milani SPF BFF is empty. It should probably go. This Paula's Choice is, I'm pretty sure expired. I've had this a while. I love this so much. Oh yeah. It expired April of this year. I've definitely used that. Also, there's a window washer. Of the whole building. What are the odds that when I'm filming, he's right there? Should I wink at him? At the end of each category, I'll kind of share things. If I'm getting rid of anything, I'll share it. So one thing that I feel has become very common right now, I'm seeing so many videos about like, what are clutter-free gifts you can give someone? Or what are, basically, I feel like we all have enough. And I think we're all feeling that. Like anytime we've talked to both sides, like our loved ones and family and friends, all of us are like, yeah, we don't really need to do a gift exchange. We don't, because we all have what we need, and I know that's not true for everyone, but I guess my point is a lot of us have plenty and we really don't need another sweater or another whatever. And that's not to say we're not going to be still giving gifts, because gift giving is one of my love languages, like giving, not receiving, but giving. How do I word that? I think you get what I'm saying. I genuinely love getting gifts. But, I think at a certain point, you don't need another $20, well, I was going to say coffee mug, but I love coffee mugs. I'm giving terrible examples. Anyway, I just didn't like this. This is the Murad Correct and Protect Serum Broad Spectrum. It's like an SPF, but in a serum. I didn't like it. So I think, with that in mind, thinking about meaningful gifts. I did a video on this, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, and I just rewatched it. I stand by everything I said in that. There's a lot of really good gifts. I think all of them are free as well. So I'll link that because I don't think I need to recreate the wheel. I really think I just nailed it that time. Just kidding. But really, I stand by everything I said. I really wouldn't change much. So if you need some free, really meaningful gift ideas, I'll link that video. Go check that out next. But one thing I want to think about is ways to give back, service to others, and thinking about like, if you are able to donate, whether it's monetary goods, whether it's stuff, whether it's time, really thinking about that. That's something that I want to show my kids they can do. And even as simple as if if your church has like a giving tree, or if there's just an organization you know of that you want to donate gifts to and you would go shop for, I don't know why I put it in quotes. I think that's powerful. Like I want to bring Genevieve, who is 4.5, I want to bring her to the store and go shop for someone else to show her it's important to give, especially when you have. You know what I mean? Wow, I'm getting rid of a lot. So some things that have kind of gone bad, or some things that are just the wrong shade, or that I just don't use. Like I don't use a lot of different setting sprays, so some of these can go. I really didn't love the Wet n Wild Glass Correct. It was okay. It wasn't like revolutionary. This Laneige Glowy Makeup Serum, I'm pretty sure has gone bad. Same with this little Tatcha Mini I've had for too long. This is their water cream. I really like their Dewy Skin Cream and a few other products. The water cream is not one that I like. I don't not like it, but it's not a favorite. So I just didn't end up using it up. So get rid of some of those. The Wet n Wild Impossible Primer, I think I like it. I think I need to use it some more. So maybe I'll hold on to that a little bit longer. But definitely keeping the Tower 28 Sunny Days. This is one of my favorite like tinted face products. This is what I'm wearing today, the number 7 Restore and Renew I really like. I'm not sure how I felt about the IT CC Nude Glow. So I need to try this some more. I think I liked it. The CoverGirl Clean I really like. I just used it in a recent video. but the smell is starting to really bother me. The more I've used it, I've probably used it like 6 or 7 more times. Every time I use it, I'm like, I feel like I can smell it on my face for a while. So, right. And I love it because it gives me that nostalgic feeling of like my mom doing her makeup, because it's exactly it. But I think I'm thinking about getting rid of it just because of that. I really like the finish, and if you can handle the smell, but I don't know that I can handle that. So another thing I've thought a lot about is decluttering before the holiday season, and especially thinking about toys. So like teaching Genevieve right now that it's important to get rid of things, pass things on that are still good, that if she's not playing with them, share them with someone else. But what that also reminds me of is, Jessica, think about what you're bringing into the house. Is it something that she can use for multiple years? Like there are certain things like magnet tiles is the perfect example. They're the little magnetic, I'll pop a picture of what they look like. She has used those for years now, and she uses them in different ways. So finding toys like that are useful in different ways that you could build out of or use with different things, pretend play, etc. Versus like kind of one-off toys. It's kind of like in the kitchen when you think about like kitchen gadgets versus, like unitaskers versus things that can do a lot, multitaskers. Sometimes unitaskers are great, but other times if you can do a lot of other things with something else, I'd rather have something that can do all of it versus a bunch of single things. So it's kind of the same with toys. There's always going to be times that I get her little things that I know she's super into that character or that movie, but really thinking about how much of that I'm bringing in, I'd rather invest in things that she can use over and over again. So that's more of a lesson for me as we declutter her room, which I want to do very soon, thinking about that and what that looks like going forward. And it's also really hard. I'm realizing if you have more than one kid, especially if they play with similar toys like Genevieve and Felicity as she gets older will probably like a lot of the same things Genevieve does. I have totes of things I'm keeping, but at a certain point I'm like, I know I'm going to want to buy some fresh things for Felicity when it comes to birthdays and holidays. So how much of this stuff do I keep? And so that's one thing I'm really battling with. I want to just keep the good things, but it's hard to part with stuff when I'm like, well, I don't want to have to buy it again in the future. So that's one thing I'm grappling with. If you have any tips, let me know. But anyway, just think of the holiday season. Decluttering with your kids beforehand, I think can be a really powerful tool to teach them about giving, but also just learning to let go. I think that's a valuable lesson as well. And plus, just realistically, it's making room for some of the new toys they may be getting in the holiday season. So it's kind of a win-win-win-win. Everyone wins. So another thing I've thought a lot about lately is playing games. That might sound silly at first, but really thinking about, how is your time spent when you're with family? And Tyler had been saying, he's like, a lot of times when we get together with your family, I feel like we just kind of sit around and talk. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's kind of the goal, right? Being with family. But he's not wrong in that I feel like a lot of the time is wasted where we could be making memories with them, which again, talking is a part of that. I'm not negating, obviously. But I agree with him that sometimes when there's a lot of downtime, like there's a lot of people in our family that's kind of in that middle age range between like 20 and 40 that are like really wanting to like do something, you know what I mean? Whether it's like play a game or laugh or whatever. And we have really gotten into the habit the past few months of finding some really good games on Amazon. I'll link some of our favorites because we've discovered some new ones that are so much fun. And we played some in our last family get together and at Thanksgiving. I was like in tears laughing some of the time. And we were making these amazing memories with family that otherwise we would have just been sitting around talking, which is nice too. But it was so much fun and it injected so much merriment into the get together that otherwise wouldn't have been there. So I know, like I said, it can sound silly to be like, think about games, but games are powerful and there are so many incredible ones out there. So I just wanted to bring that up because I do think it has been such a fun thing that we've started doing more. It's not that we didn't play games before, but we're intentionally bringing them with us and we're intentionally learning new games. And it has been so much fun. And we've made so many new memories. So like I said, I'll link some of my favorite ones below because they're ones I've never heard of, but they were easy. Because that's the thing. They need to be easy enough. Like if you've got a big group, it can't be nitty gritty. You know what I mean? Unless you're all really into games. So I'm doing eyeshadow. I have like a million little hair clip things. I should probably put these elsewhere. Eyeshadow wise, I'm going to get rid of this NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. It was fine, but the formula was just meh. It's just meh. The Winky Lux Coffee Kitten palette I do like. I might bring back home with me. I'm still deciding because I do think the quality's good. The quality is great, but I just don't ever reach for it. The Naked Half Baked palette, it's really pretty. I mean, these are shades I would use, but there's something about it that I just don't find myself reaching for it, and I have plenty like this. So there you go. I am keeping my Wet n Wild Always Naked and Always Blushin' palettes. I really like those. Any of my M Cosmetics little palettes I'm keeping. This is what I'm wearing today, and I love this. This is the one in Da Vinci. And then, of course, my Ulta Everyday Faves is one of my absolute favorites. I love the formula of this, so definitely keeping. I have the Sigma Ritzy palette. I think I'm going to get rid of it. There's nothing wrong with it, but again, I like the quality of this Ulta one better than this, and I was using this the other day, and I was like, I don't know. I just don't like it as much, so that one's going to go. So back to Christmas stuff. Another thing, so let's think about like making memories with your family, whether it's like your family, like if you have kids and stuff, what is that? Immediate family, or whether it's your more extended family or it's friends or both. Making memories with them. So that kind of piggybacks on games. But one thing we did recently, and again, it was one of those memories I'll have forever, was some of the girls in our family and my mom went to the outlet mall and we went shopping and we went out to dinner, and we never do stuff like that all together. And it was absolutely so much fun. Like, we're already planning our next time to do that. And I'm like, what have we been waiting on? Like, we could have, most of that would have been free. We didn't have to spend any money at the outlet mall, just being there together and looking at stuff. And of course, I guess spending money like going to dinner. But it's one of those things that doesn't have to cost a lot of money, and you can just go out with them and make memories. And we were just giggling and having the time of our lives. And again, I'm like, why have we not done this sooner? Like, it just is kind of crazy and sad. You know, I told you so much has been on my mind. I have really been thinking about the length of life. And how, I hope I'm not like getting anyone in like a dark spot talking about all this in this video, but you know, life is so short. It is so short. And I just feel like when you really break down what's important in life, I mean, for me, obviously like God and religion would be, again, that's a personal thing, but important. But then, you know, your loved ones and spending time with them and making memories and all of the stuff. Like, I love makeup, and we're talking about makeup in this video, and I think it's important to have things in this earthly life that you're interested in and that bring you joy too. But, you know, when you break it all down, none of this matters. You know what I mean? And so just thinking about ways you can make family memories together. And so not just like going to the outlet mall, but, you know, making cookies together or doing a cookie exchange or having a game night. Doing those kinds of things intentionally can be a lot of work to get your schedules, but especially if you're like, okay, hey, maybe we can't do it this holiday season, but in January, let's pick a date now. Everyone add it to your calendar, and on that Friday night, we're gonna make cookies together. It doesn't have to be the holiday season. And so I'm wanting to make more space for that in my life, because some of the things I spend my time doing are so unimportant when it comes to the grand scheme of things. And so that's something that's been on my mind. This video is weird, I know. Now we are on the like cheek product train. Now I'm like looking at some of these, and I'm like, some of these are like high-end products. I was really disappointed. I'm like, I think I might make like a separate little pile of things I want to do a video about, like disappointing high-end purchases. Let me know if you'd be interested, but I'm like I said, I'm just making a little pile over here. So some other things, and this is for us more spiritual or religion based, so it might not look the same for you depending on what you believe, etc. But one thing we did in childhood that I really liked, that I actually, out of all my siblings, somehow managed to get my grubby little paws on this and get to keep it, and I can't believe it. I feel like no one wanted it. I'm like, what? Anyway, it was this little baby Jesus, and it is so sad and dirty at this point. I'll pop in a little clip of what it looks like. And there's this little manger that I think my oldest brother had made, and then like maybe my brother-in-law had fixed at some point. Anyway, and as a kid, what we would do is all Advent long leading up to Christmas, anytime we did a good deed or did something nice for someone, we were able to put a little straw, like I think my mom used Easter straw. You could use hay, whatever. You'd put one in the little crib. And Jesus wasn't in there until he was born on Christmas Day. So my mom hid it somewhere. I was thinking, like, where did she hide it in that old house? As if it mattered. But I was thinking about that. I got to ask her. The idea was that you want to make a nice, comfy plush bed for the baby Jesus when he's born. And I think that is the sweetest idea. And so I need to get some straw. I said that last year, and I don't think I ever ended up finding any. And now she's actually old enough to do it. I need to just get like a little baggie of hay and then just keep it year after year. But I think that's such a sweet idea to, again, and we could do it too as adults. You know, there are times where I can make a better decision to be nicer or to not gossip about something or to, you know what I mean? There's so many things in life. And so I think that's a really good thing and a great way that you could, like, if you have kids, kind of teach them those kinds of values in a different way than maybe throughout the year you might. Another thing, I just bought the Advent devotionals from a company called Daily Grace Co. I think they're actually really popular, but I just heard about them. They're so beautiful, first of all. But I got his and hers, so Tyler has it too. And so at night we can like read the bits of the Bible they're telling us to read, answer some questions about it, read a little devotional portion, and it's just been really cool. I just feel like I struggle with, first of all, Tyler and I are still finding ourselves when it comes to religion and what that looks like. Again, I think that's a big part of why this is so heavily on my mind at this season of life, is that we're trying to figure out what we believe and especially what we want to teach our children to believe. And I think that is another that connects back to like feeling like the adult, like we are taking the reins of this and deciding, okay, this is our family. We've got family that believe what they believe, but we need to decide for our family what that looks like. And I think that has maybe been the crux of all of this that's been on my mind. And I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy for you to take a step back from maybe the religion you were brought up in, whatever. And if you end up right back at that religion, great. But at least you will know for the rest of your life that that was your belief system and that you landed there on your own accord. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're trying out, we know what we were brought up in, and there are parts of that we really love and parts of it we don't. And so we're kind of trying different things, trying to find our way. And we'll see. I'm always like in my mind, I'm like, how will I know? Like, I mean, we know what we believe, but you know, will we ever just hit a point where we're like, this is it? Like, this is the church, or this is the religion, or this is the, here's the church, here's the steeple, open the doors and here's all the people. That's what it, anyway. So I don't know. Let me know if you're on a similar journey or you're still figuring it out or whatever. But back to the devotionals. This has been so nice because I struggle with, you know, how do I infuse God into my life? You know, I can go to church on Sundays or whatever, but what does that look like in my day-to-day life other than like, okay, I can pray at night, but what else can I do? And so devotionals have been one way for me to feel like I'm trying, right? And I'm trying to find ways to think more about God and being a better person, etc. So long story short, these have been really nice so far. I mean, we're literally like just a few days in, so it's not like I have a huge handle on this. I do have a favorite devotional that's not like this one where it feels more like you're doing like a Bible study. One that you just read a few paragraphs each day. I'll link below. It's called Jesus Calling, or there's a bunch in this line, and I love all of them. So it'd be another just really good gift idea for someone if you know they're maybe Christian or whatever. Anyway, I think one of the hardest things when you get married, and I've gotten questions about this too, one of the harder things when you get married is figuring out like what traditions your spouse had and what traditions you have and what that looks like going forward. And that can, and not just with the holiday season, but like literally combining ways of living, right? Like, how do you do the dishes? Well, you don't do it the way I do it. Or what are some of your favorite meals? Well, I don't like that. And you know, there's so much that when you're merging two grown people, it's hard. And especially the longer you wait, the more set in your ways you are, you know what I mean? So it adds that big old layer of almost discomfort because you're trying to work your way forward. And I think Tyler and I are definitely at a point now, we've been married 7 years. We have our own ways of doing it that we do it together. You know what I mean? That's different than the way I was brought up and different than the way he was brought up. And then there are some things that I've brought in and that he's brought in that have worked for both of us. So it's just kind of interesting when you really take a step back from how you were raised to how you are now and maybe how you want to be. I just read the book 4 Hour Workweek, and I don't agree with everything he says in there, and a lot of it is like just so, if you've read it, some of it is so out there, I'm like, okay, but a lot of it, he speaks a lot of really good truths in it, and so I really did like it, and I would recommend it just for some of the advice. I just don't think all of the advice applies to all people. Like a big portion of it is about like selling products and creating a product. I'm like, I have absolutely no interest in that at all. And so there were just chapters I kind of skipped. But, you know, he does talk a lot about like thinking about your life and how you want to spend your time. And we all, obviously, most people work 9 to 5 or whatever, but a lot of people have gotten a taste of working from home and what that looks like. And then you start thinking about, well, could I get my work done in less time? Like, do you have a boss that's breathing down your neck or not? Like, if you get your work done, do they care if you were working 9 to 5? But he talks a lot about work for work's sake and how, like, it's funny in teaching though. I'm like, oh yeah, like when I was teaching, I'm like, no, I used every freaking second of every day and I was still working overtime at home and after school and, you know, but really thinking about if you are intentionally stretching your work to fill 9 to 5. There's this rule called the 80-20 rule that's basically like 80% of the work you do is done in 20% of the time. But you'll stretch I'm sure I'm butchering it, but you'll stretch to fill that 9 to 5 or whatever the hours. And it's true. Think about like if you have a project due at the end of a week, you're going to end up doing that project. You're going to have that whole week, but you're going to do that project last minute. But you're going to somehow be kind of working on it off and on. And it is amazing what we will do. We will waste so much time doing really nothing. You know what I mean? And so I think there's some power to that. And there's a lot to break down there. But just thinking about how you want to spend your time. You know, what things in my life can I streamline? What things in my life can I cut out? That's really wasting my time. That's not really worth the effort. That's something I think about a lot with many things. But all right, let's talk makeup because I feel like I could just drone on and on and on. But now I actually do need to finish this project. Okay, so this is actually what I'm wearing on my lips. This is the L'Oreal Feathery Fleur. It's like their like gloss, shiny gloss bomb, whatever. It's one of my favorites. I feel like I talked about it a lot for a while, and then it got buried in this drawer, honestly. I'm not getting rid of a lot of lip products. I feel like I use a lot of these, so it's kind of hard to do when I do feel like I use a lot of them. I promise I'll show you my declutter pile. So looking at like concealers here, I just used this again today. I think I'm gonna get rid of it. The Sephora Gel Serum Concealer. It's okay. I just don't love it. It's just one of those that I'm like, I am still really liking the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. I think that stuff is really lovely. I do not have a single powder foundation here. I just have like a couple loose powders and then like an under eye powder. I'm like, how am I living like this? Last bit. Oh, by the way, the mascara I'm wearing, I have been loving. It's the Benefit They're Real Magnet. It is, listen, I found a lot of mascaras I've been loving lately. This one is absolutely gorgeous. It just instantly lengthens and separates, but still adds volume, but it's very separating. It is really, really unique in that way, and I really like the way it looks. It got there fast, you know what I mean? I did end up doing 2 layers, but I feel like I really didn't even need that second layer, so loving that. Some of these, like Lawless One and Done, actually is pretty good. Ooh, some of these are old. This Milani Anti-Gravity, these NYX ones, I was not a huge, they weren't bad. I just don't find myself reaching for a 2-step mascara system, the On The Rise, but I remembered it looking okay. This NARS Climax liner, liquid liner, was weird from the start. I don't even know why I kept it. Very disappointed in the Essence Lash Princess liner. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clear brow gels here. I don't even use clear brow gel that often. Why do I have 5 of them? That's insane. Like, why would I have that many here? So, I do like all of these though. Like, none of them are bad. So, but I don't need all of them here. So I think I'll bring some home, but that is just making me laugh. Oh, one of the best. This little makeup eraser pen I got on Amazon. It has little refills. It's like under $10. So one of the greatest things you'll ever buy. I use it to clean up like liquid liner, or if I just get makeup or something weird anywhere, I just use this, and it has the little replacement heads on here, so you can just throw that one away, pop a new one on. Absolutely incredible. One of the most important things I use every single day. I also just used the Too Faced Killer liner for the first time. I was trying to see, where's a mirror? Yeah, it's still transferring down a little bit. I was hoping it wouldn't transfer, and it totally is. It says it's a waterproof liner. I think it may be somewhat waterproof, but it's not necessarily transfer proof, so that stinks. Not bad. I got a whole bunch of empty stuff. Let me kind of show you what I'm working with here. So this is everything I'm kind of getting rid of, I think. And again, a lot of this, please keep in mind, I feel like I say this a lot, but it's true. A lot of this I'm getting rid of not because I don't like it, but because I have too many things that are similar. So I may have recently talked about one of these in a video and said I really like it and recommend it. But if I kept everything I liked and recommended, I would have drawers and drawers and drawers and drawers and drawers of makeup that is all going bad. So please keep that in mind. If you see something I've recently talked about, it's not that I don't like it or I wasn't being truthful. It's just that I can't keep it all, guys. Like I said, some of these things I'm gonna pluck out for a future luxury product regrets type video. So stay tuned for that. But, oh, that's not going anywhere. Get out of there, Puff. I feel good about what we're getting rid of. I mean, this is just from here. I've got lots of makeup at home. I'm also going to be working through decluttering. I might film about 2. But yeah, a lot of the things I'm keeping. Here, let me show you that. So this is a lot of the stuff I'm keeping. I have too many lip products here, so like a lot of those will go home. And I really just kind of want to swap out some things. Just a lot of my favorites, things I use a lot. Some things I kind of have gone back and forth about. I just don't use. I like both these primers okay, but I don't use them enough that I'm like, this kind of primer I just don't use a lot. So I'm like kind of thinking about it. This Milk blush I really like, but again, I have so many like it. I'm like, do I really need, you know? So these are some things I need to think about, but I might go ahead and bring them home. And then when I'm doing like a declutter there, I can kind of deal with these. We'll see. I might change my mind in 5 minutes, but yeah, so this feels pretty good. I need to work these back into the collection, but actually now that I'm saying that, I'm like, I might just put these in a bag and take them home and pull things from there for future. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay. So I hope this video was helpful. I don't know what this video was, you guys. Thank you for indulging me. I just clearly needed to chat about stuff, and I also needed to do this. So we checked 2 things off my to-do list today, and I'm glad you were there for the ride. Thank you for joining me and staying all the way to the end. Again, if you want to check out Storyworth, you can go to storyworth.com/JessicaB to get $10 off your first purchase. You guys know I love it. I could talk about it all day, so I have that link right at the top of the description box. Thank you again to Storyworth for sponsoring a portion of this video. Thank you guys for being my subscribers. I love you guys so much, and I hope you're joining us on Vlogmas over on Tyler's channel. Trying to think about when this is going live. It should be in full swing by now, so definitely check it out from the beginning. I'll link the playlist below if you want to check out the first few episodes. When is this video going live? Oh yeah, Vlogmas will have already started. We're a couple days in at this point. So I hope you'll join. And here's your proper invitation. If you have never watched any of our vlogs, or you've never gotten into Vlogmas or never given it a try, I invite you to try it this year. You might be surprised. I know a lot of you guys had never done it and you started watching it last year, a few days in, and you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this is what Vlogmas was like. Like you had a certain vision in your head of what it was like, and it was different. It's really just kind of chill. And I know a lot of you guys, now it's your tradition, and that makes me so happy. It is certainly our tradition. I can't imagine now a holiday season without doing it. And I really weirdly look forward to it every year. So I invite you. I hope you'll go check even just one episode out, see if it's your cup of tea. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. This was such a weird video. Bye.